Welcome into the final Oxnard edition of Inside Cowboys Training Camp presented by Ford. Once again from the West Coast, alongside Mickey Spagnola, I'm Kyle Youmans here for DallasCowboys.com. And we got plenty of time to look at this Cowboys team heading into the preseason. Had preseason game number 1 last Thursday. Had a practice with the Rams here on Saturday. And, well, we got a chance to look at Michael Gallup again, kind of working his way back into the starting lineup. And we heard from him on Monday. What did you see from Michael Gallup over the weekend?
You know, he was talking about making the adjustment of playing in the slot, because normally when he was here, he was always on the outside. They didn't move him around all that much. Well, with Amari Cooper still nursing his foot rehab, they put CD Lamb outside, and they've tried to make Michael Gallup a little more versatile, working in the slot. He didn't really work in the slot that much his first couple of years with the Cowboys, and when he was asked if he had done it in college, he goes, no. He goes, I ran 4 routes on the outside, and most of them were going deep. So the adjustment he's making, and I think he's doing a good job, and I'll tell you what, he's still going up, making one-handed catches. They're still throwing him back shoulder fades, and he can go up and get the ball. So I think so far, if they're asking him to do more, he's done more, and he's looking really good.
He had a really nice catch in the back of the end zone against Darius Williams against the Rams on Saturday. And, of course, this is a contract year for Michael Gallup. Pretty crucial for him as an individual, but it's crucial for this franchise to figure out where he fits in this offense. Where does he fit in, and how imperative is it for him to figure that out?
I think he fits in awfully well, and now it comes down to what can you do to get him re-signed. And he keeps talking about, you know, I'm not worrying about the business part of it. He goes, that's up to my agent. And best advice he got, probably from Amari Cooper, he said, you know, Amari had to go through it, and he said, if you don't go out there and play well, then they don't, meaning his agent, can't go upstairs to the guys and tell them, well, here's what he did. So he said, I got to take care of my part before my guy can go take care of his part.
How much is the success of CD Lamb and even the thought of having Amari Cooper back putting pressure on Michael Gallup heading into the year?
I don't think there's pressure on him. I think he's immune to that. I think what he thinks is, I just go out and play my game, and everything else will fall into place. And the Cowboys don't give up on him, because who knows what the market value will be for a guy that's considered the second or third wide receiver on a team.
No doubt about that, and he's made plenty of flash plays throughout training camp. But what's the difference between a flash play and a good training camp? We'll hear from Mike McCarthy when we come back with more Inside Cowboys Training Camp presented by Ford.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp presented by Ford is brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. Sleep Number. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed helps everyone from parents to pros improve their performance through quality sleep, only at a Sleep Number store. And by Ford, built for Texas, built for you. This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back into Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford, here from Oxnard, California. Mickey Spagnola, Kyle Youmans with you. And Mickey, we've heard so many times along the way throughout training camp about flash plays and how that doesn't necessarily translate into a good training camp. How do you, specifically as a training camp veteran, decide who's had a good camp and who hasn't by separating themselves from those plays?
Yeah, and I think you separate yourself in training camp if you're consistent, because one day somebody that you're not really sure is going to make this roster will flash. They'll have a great practice. So what does he do the next day and the next day after that? So as Bill Parcells used to say, you can't be a one-hit wonder. You got to do it day in, day out. And so I think that's what the coaching staff looks for. They understand if a guy flashes. But now, can you do it that next day, the next day, and then when the lights come on, can you do it then too? Because sometimes guys fade under the pressure of game situation.
So that's how Mickey Spagnola differentiates between some of the flash plays and how these players have had a good camp overall. Here's what Mike McCarthy had to say about specific players and trying to figure out whether or not they've had a great camp via a grading system.
Yeah, I mean, that's coaching, that's playing, it's all done the same. So, just it's no different when you grade a quarterback. You know, if his feet aren't right and he throws a great throw, he makes a great throw, you still give him a minus footwork. I mean, it's if you're going to track fundamentals and try to improve the fundamentals of any position, you know, all the way through the football team, the result doesn't change the teaching of, you know, where their feet are supposed to be and you know, the depth of the route, all those things. So, I mean, you can make a great catch and turn around and spin out of it and run 60 yards for a touchdown, but, you know, if you get it still is a minus route. I mean, that's the only way you get it right. So, I mean, that's part of our grading system.
Our Coach's Sound presented by Sleep Number. And Mickey, Coach just said it right there about the grading system, and consistency certainly helps with the grading, but has anybody stuck out to you as being overly consistent throughout their time in Oxnard?
I think if you're looking at a guy that flashed early and then continued to play well, Maurice Kennedy, the cornerback. Jordan Lewis missed a couple practices. They put Kennedy in the slot with the first team, and from the beginning of training camp, he either intercepting the ball almost every day or knocking down a pass every day. And so you sit there and go, okay, the guy's flashing. Now, what are you going to do for me tomorrow and the next day? And he's continued to play well. So I think he's got his hand up in the air, and it's like, if you're looking for the fourth cornerback, it's me. And they're going to have to look long and hard on this one.
He has certainly been a surprise and a welcome one at that, in that cornerback room that seems to have more depth than it has in years past. But what does this team have to show everybody in the back half of training camp that actually takes place in Frisco? We'll talk about it next when we return on Inside Cowboys Training Camp.
This segment was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
It's the final Oxnard segment of Inside Cowboys Training Camp presented by Ford alongside Mickey Spagnola. I'm Kyle Youmans, where over the next couple of days we will get plenty of opportunities to see the Dallas Cowboys in action. They'll take on the Arizona Cardinals Friday night in Arizona. That'll be preseason game number 2 for the Cowboys, week number 1 officially in the NFL preseason. Then they'll return home after breaking camp in Oxnard via that Arizona game. And in returning to Frisco, you'll get a couple of opportunities to see the Dallas Cowboys Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, starting with Cowboys night on August 16th. So, Mickey, we've gotten a chance to see the Cowboys out here in Oxnard. They return back to Frisco for the remainder of training camp. What do we need to see them accomplish as they head into the season?
Well, I think the first thing they need to accomplish is get back in training camp mode. Even though they're not going to be in Oxnard, they still got 3 training camp practices and another week at the Star that they got to be ready to play. So McCarthy's going to have to get after them. I think things that they haven't accomplished yet here that stand out to me is they got to find a backup swing tackle. They got to find a guy that can play left and right, and so far really nobody has stood out. They brought in Ty Nsekhe on a 1-year deal. He's got an opportunity. He struggled a little bit in that Hall of Fame game. After that, it's Terrence Steele. He was a starter last year as a rookie, undrafted. He struggled, but he's looking like he's coming around. So I think between one of those two guys, they're probably going to get the job, especially since 4th-round pick Josh Ball has a high ankle sprain, and he's probably out at least another week or so. Then the other spot is backup center. Right now, they're kind of hoping that Connor Williams, their starting left guard, can be the backup center if something happens in a game. There's really not many other candidates. Their 7th-round pick, Matt Forniak, hasn't played a lot of center. So if Williams can win that job, it saves them a spot on their game day roster.
And especially when they're deep in other positions, that's going to be crucial for this Cowboys roster moving forward. He's Mickey Spagnola. I'm Kyle Youmans. We'll see you next time on Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, was brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. Sleep Number. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed helps everyone from parents to pros improve their performance through quality sleep. Only at a Sleep Number store. And by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you.